So one of the issues that I've had with a couple of axe heads over the years is that the steel is just too hard to comfortably file down to the edge profile that I want. It's a real bummer to pick up a new or close to new file and run it across an axe head and just dull your file and not make a whole lot of progress on the axe head. So I was running around my Home Depot the other day, and I got an idea. I'd walked past these a number of times and thought, this might do the trick. So this is a diamond-coated file that's meant for softening the edges of tiles. And they came in a couple types, so I picked up sort of a bench stone type abrasive here, and then I got this more, it has a rounded end and a flat end, more kind of handheld size tool. And from using this, it works wonderfully. It works very, very well. So I thought, why not give that bench stone a try, and we'll see how far we can get. Now, probably imagine this is the coarse side, but we'll see. And you can see just how hard this is. I would guess that this is, this has to be 40 grit. It is just incredibly coarse. It's supposed to have diamonds in it, but you can really see them on this tool here. This is a little bit tougher. So I'm going to go ahead and try this hand file out. And you can see the difference immediately. I'm not crazy about this bench stone here, but you can see how quickly you can start to see the steel flakes in the oil. This works fantastically well. Very, very well. I'll zoom in here. Some of the diamond rubbing off of this file, so I can't speak to the longevity of this product, but it is certainly removing steel. That is working amazingly well. Incredibly aggressive. This is really my only option for this axe, unless I go to the grinder, which I don't want to do. I'm going to try this other side here. These stones really do drink a lot of oil. And if there's nothing to carry away the steel, it just clogs up your stone, and then it's steel on steel instead of the abrasive on the steel. got a burr here. This toe is the most difficult part of the bit. It's a lot wider than the rest of the bit, and it's got more edge damage. And you know, sometimes with these old axes too, I have a theory that the oxide layer from the forging process is still on the axe, and if that never gets removed, it's very, very difficult to sharpen. And so I think some of them were just never sharpened. And so sometimes when you do use a tool, and I've done this before with belts, with abrasive belts on my grinder. When you remove those first few microns from the bit, you end up with softer steel down below. And the first knife that I ever made, I thought I screwed up the hardening because I could not file through it to save my life. And then somebody helped me out and told me I just have to get through that oxidation layer. Well, see, and do you see the difference here too? It cuts at the heel, but see, it skips. That is harder than a coffin nail. But down here, I can cut with the file. It's still very, very hard, but I can still cut with it. I mean, that's just incredible. It just... this is a 2-day-old file, and it won't cut. So, I think we're going to keep going here with the stone. And then you can see the buildup from the steel here. You look at that? That's all got to go away. Otherwise, it's steel on steel, which isn't going to sharpen. And that makes sense, because this is one of the reasons why I'm a little bit skittish of some vintage axes. Unless you can take a file with you and check them out, it's difficult to tell if you have an axe where the heat treat is spot on or not. And if you're buying one for $5 or $10, it's no big deal. But some of the axes out there now that I see, you could spend $100, $200 or more on a vintage axe, and there's really no guarantee that it's going to have steel that behaves well. You can see on the other side too, it just really doesn't want to do much. Right here, it'll, again, just like on the other side, it kind of acts like it wants to cut, but just in that spot, and then it, I mean, that's incredible. And I've got a couple files here. This is my best file. It's got some wood on it now. This is a Simmons, which it's been a great file. Very, very hard, very, very fast cutting. Extremely fast cutting. Gotta come up with something here. All right. extremely fast cutting, and it just doesn't want to touch it. Nicholson. It's also pretty new. It hits this one spot here, and then nothing else. Well, this one's cutting better than either of the other two. But that is still just an extremely, extremely hard axe. You know, and I'm not here to give anybody rules. You know, you saw what just happened there. I'm not here to tell anybody they're doing something wrong or what they should do or what they shouldn't do. And I should be wearing a glove. But honestly, I've never cut myself doing this. I've come close a whole bunch of times. And if I did cut myself doing it, I would know that there is only myself to blame. And I'm okay with that. I can live with it. So, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And you can see I am still, I'd say about a 1/4 inch back from the bit, from the edge here, and I'm just really trying to file those cheeks down. I can already tell, and that is very, very strange. This side is harder than the other side. And you know, that could make sense. Back in the day, some axes were heat treated by the individual that forged the axe. They would take the axe from raw steel billet all the way through final grinding and polish. And one of the ways that they would heat treat the axe is they'd throw it in an oven. They'd wait until it turned the straw-like color that you want to see. That means you've taken it above the critical temperature of the steel. They would harden it, and then they would take it back to the oven and they would place it on a red hot or not a red hot, excuse me, on a hot billet of steel, and that way the heat would evenly soak its way through the axe head, and it would soften it. That's what the tempering of the axe does. It softens the axe a little bit, but it reduces its brittleness a lot. And so, totally my guesstimation, but this side is significantly harder than the other side, and that would mean this was up. This side of the axe head was facing up, and it wasn't as exposed to the hot piece of metal. As far as oil goes, about the only oil that I don't think should be used is motor oil. Because motor oil technology is so good today. And maybe I should clarify, don't use a synthetic motor oil because you'll grind all day. Our oil technology is so good today that it is so good at eliminating metal on metal contact. It's too good of a lubricant. I remember when I was a kid, I must have been 7 or 8, my dad was trying to teach me how to use my grandpa's sharpening stones. And my dad's dad had passed by that point. And so my dad was using, I don't know, Valvoline full synthetic or whatever it was, if it was a part synthetic, and he could not sharpen that knife to save his life. And looking back on that, I think it's pretty funny. It's like just down here. A lot of times on these old vintage axes, your center's going to be fairly good, and then your toe and your heel are going to be thick, just super, super thick. People like to sharpen within this range here, about a 1/2 inch in on either end, and so I'm needing to correct the thickness quite a bit, especially at the heel. All the way around. And this might be the first time that this axe has ever been sharp. Because I think, you know, and back in the day, I don't think they worried too much about an axe being too hard, because their market was the timber industry. And the timber industry always had a whole bunch of guys with grinding wheels. So I don't think they worried too much about it. Plus, back then, I mean, everything's different. You couldn't just go buy a file. Even if it was available, you probably didn't have the money for it. If you were making 25 cents a railroad tie, and then you had to pay the company you were working for room, board, and other expenses. So, anyways, we'll keep going. So now I can switch to an axe puck. These are great. It's a little Arkansas pocket stone. I like this one quite a bit. Got our hard Arkansas stone. These are true Arkansas stones from the state. This is a cool stone. Watch what it does to that edge. Wonderful. Let's give it a shot. There we go. It'll shave whatever you want. So, man, I would say that this stone here and this little file is a deadly combination. It worked great for me. Worked just great. And you can see it didn't take any life out of that stone hardly at all. No daylight under there, so it seems to be fairly durable too. My sense is that this file is probably going to wear out much sooner than that stone. But that's to be expected, and I think this was, oh man, it was around $10. So this is the only axe that I have trouble with right now, and so I'd say it was well worth it. Check out that edge. Did a beautiful job. That stone. Very happy with it.